Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is part 21C of our mini-series, which is inside our series of Let's Get Cooking, where we're doing our storage system. Last time we added some sockets to our shelf mesh. We made up some blueprints. We populated our data asset for the items and for the storage, and we added some extra variables to our BPP base. This time we're going to add the functions in our interfaces that we made. So we have our bulk items interface. So let's find that first. We go to our blueprints folder, our interfaces folder, and our bulk items. Okay, so we have 4 functions to add here. First one is, add a function. Give bulk data asset. Okay. The next one, that has an output of DA bulk items, and we're just going to call it data asset. Okay, compile that. Okay, these two I think maybe later on in the series, later on in this episode, but we'll add them anyway. And this is called start adding contents. Another function is called stop adding content. And neither of them have any inputs or outputs. And the last one we're going to do is give pack quantity, and that has an output of quantity, QTY for short, and a type integer. Compile that. Now what I'm going to do is put these in a category, so I'm going to put it in a category called bulk items, and we just go ahead and change these all to the same category, so that when it's on a item, it just gives us a little bit more information about what they are. So that's that interface done. The next one is our storage. That. Okay, so let's find that in our content drawer, BP storage. This only has 3 functions. So the first function is remove from storage. I'm going to make them, and then we'll fill in the information in a moment. Get storage data asset. This one is add to storage in bracket single item. Okay, you will understand, or these will make more sense as we go along. Okay, so let's start. Remove from storage has 2 inputs. First input is called item name, and that's bulk items. and socket name is the second one. So socket name, and that's of type name, the pinky purpley one. The next, have I just done that one? Okay, well, probably not. Get storage data asset has an output of called data asset in DA storage. Okay, I accidentally filled this one in. Add storage single item, but it is the same. So remove from storage has the same too. So add an input, and we're going to call this one a socket name. And another import, item name. And that's of E bulk item names. And I'm just going to use my little hand, move it above there so that it's the same. So 2 functions in that one. So we've done our interfaces now. They're all ready, so make sure you compile and save both of those. Make sure you have 7 compile on, is what I normally do. We've done those. Next thing is in our BPP Kitchen Manager, we do add some more functions. Actually, but we didn't put in the storage here. We're going to put them in. It doesn't matter. Thought I just opened it up. BPI Kitchen Manager. Here we go. So now BPI Kitchen Manager. You've got your 3 categories here. We've added 4 new functions. So let's add a function. And we got refresh stock items. That has no inputs, no outputs, but we're going to put this in a category of stock. We're going to add another function, and this is get stock data. And I'm going to do these one by one because it's quite, so it's got 2 outputs. So it's in stock items, and they are of type E. Bulk item name map of quantity or integer. And the next one is the same type, different name, max stock value. So how much can we actually have in stock? And this is used in the UI to, we'll put in a stock category, to actually limit how much we can buy. Obviously, because we're not storing it in boxes like a lot of other games like this, if we buy too many, it just disappears into the realms of nowhereness and you lose your money for no point. So this is to make sure we can only buy what we can actually put on our storage. I've got a bit of a dry throat. Quick drink. Next one is called add stock to shelf. Actually, I'm going to change it to shelf. Add stock to storage. I want to limit it so we think it's just so any storage we can add stock to storage. And that has one input, and it is of the same type that we had before. So we're going to call this stock to add. And we have one more. Excuse me. And it's remove from stock. Then put it in our stock category. This has two inputs, different this time. First one is just called item or item name. Item name. And it's a single of that. And the next one's called new quantity. That's an integer. Okay, so that's our BPI kitchen manager done. We've done our, I think we've done all of our BPI now. We set up all our blueprint variables last time. So I think we need to now go into, let me just check the time for this video. Okay, we've got plenty of time. So we're going to now make sure we compile and save everything. Bear with me, I need to close my window. I can't see with the sun. Oh. Sorry about that. I apologise for that. Terrible noise. Okay, so I can see what I'm doing now. We can now go to our, let's have a look. Yes, we need to make some data assets now. Let's go to our folder, data folder, assets folder. We're going to make a new folder. Actually, we're going to, in our items data, in our food, we're going to do a subfolder here. I'm going to call it bulk items. And in here, we're going to have just another folder and call it storage. Okay, let's do the storage one first because it's the one that takes the longest. So we're going to go into our miscellaneous, make a new data asset. We can use a type storage. We're going to call this DA underscore shelf. Now, just to explain this, if you decide that you want, and you have many different ingredients and you want one shelf full of, say, one type of ingredients and then another shelf with different ingredients on, this system will work for that. You just need to duplicate your mesh and rename your sockets and place your sockets accordingly, and then make a new data asset for that particular shelf, okay, and make a new actor for that shelf. So it's only a case of just duplicating what you've got. It's not difficult to it's quite a scalable system. So we're going to open this up. Let's give it a save. I'm going to open mine up. If I can find it. You have to remember that my test project here is quite a bit different. It's got stuff added to it for future videos and stuff not there. So what have we got in here? We've got our storage data, which is 0 map elements. Is cold storage, or shelf is not cold storage in this case. But if you decide to have a cold room in your game and you want to put shelf in cold room, then you would check that. Can contain, so what are we going to say it's going to contain? Item type, so on and so forth. So let's take these one at a time. Do the laborious one first. So storage data, so we're going to add one. So it's not cold storage, so we can't add butter, but we can add bread. Okay. And how do we know where to add them? So this is where you need to go back and reference your static mesh so that you've got the names correct. So in our static mesh here, I've got bread as B0 through to B7. And what I've found a nice way of doing it, just copy the first one. And you see it says socket here. You need to add a socket. It will come up as none. Paste it. Add another socket. You can still paste it as long as you don't hit enter or anything like that, and name them. And we just keep going through them all. I'm not going to sit and make you watch me put all of these in. I'm going to do it off camera and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. Okay, I just thought I'll bring you in on this one just to show you something. I have two types of jam, strawberry jam, blueberry jam. Now I didn't separate the socket names. I didn't put SJ and BJ, or which maybe you can do. I just put them as J for jam all the way through to 0. I've actually got 12 items, so 0 to 11. So you have to be mindful if you've done it like that, that you're separating the two, or else you're going to get all the same item in the same place. I'll show you that when I've completed it. Okay, so I've added all my socket names. And if you have any problems with this not working, first thing I would do is check that your naming of your sockets is exactly the same as the namings of the sockets in the places on your mesh. This is what I mean by the jam. I've done mine from J0 through to J11, but I want strawberry jam on J0 to J5 and blueberry jam J6 to J11. And if I reference my mesh, you can see that if I say J6, that's just a set of 6 jars here onwards. And if I say J0, it's this set of jars. J1 and J0 is a set of jars going this way. So just be mindful. If you want to separate them, go ahead and separate them. Whatever you name them, as long as you make sure you're accurate with your naming in your data asset for that storage unit, and everything will be fine. So I've got my bread, coffee, strawberry jam, and blueberry jam here. Okay. What next do we add? Double checking. Obviously, next thing is cold storage. No, it's not. What can it contain? Well, we actually don't have the data assets for them yet. So maybe it's a good idea just to make the data assets and we'll fill them out in a moment. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go to our data folder, data assets. We already made the folder in our items data bulk items. We're just going to make a new, we're not going to fill them out right yet, we're just going to make them so we can add them to this one. So we go to our miscellaneous data asset and it's our bulk items. We're just going to call it DA underscore, let's start from the top, bread. And let's make it a little bit more, less confusing, loaf of bread. We can duplicate this because they've got nothing in them at the moment. This one we're going to say is DA underscore pack of coffee. Duplicate this. D underscore pack of butter. Duplicate. Say D. Sorry, DA underscore draw. Jar of strawberry jam, and we'll duplicate that one. Jar of straw to blueberry in my case, Like I say, these will be whatever you decided to call your ingredients. Just make sure you've got them all there. Let's go ahead and save them all. Now back in our DA shelf, in our can add, we can add the map element. So we can say, okay, on here we can't add butter, it's not cold storage, but we can add bread. We can add coffee. We can add strawberry jam, and we can add blueberry jam, and so on and so forth. Then we set the data assets to here. So bread is a loaf of bread, coffee, a pack of coffee, so on and so forth. Okay. Make sure you're just accurate with the ones that you're putting in, or you're going to get the wrong items in the wrong place, or they won't spawn at all. So item type is storage. Okay. Static mesh is our mesh that we've used, so make sure you highlight the correct mesh. Name, call it whatever you like. I'm just going to call it storage shelf. Some sort of description. Now the reason I've got these descriptions in it and the item icons and stuff in a lot of them, A, because they're inherited, but also B, we may want to at a later date have it so that we can spawn in the different items. Okay, so like you could have an expansion and you could buy more storage or whatever, you know, depending on the sort of game you want, but it's a mechanic I have in mind to put in maybe later. Okay, we're going to just uncheck all of these. Okay, we don't want it to display a message. Okay, so we'll uncheck that. Again, if some of these are missing, just follow my next videos after this series and you'll catch up. It's just because I've had to go back and reslot these in. So that's how we fill in our storage data asset. So we've got our shelf storage data asset done. The next one we're going to look at is how do we fill in our bulk items. So let's go to those that we just made. And we put them under items data, bulk items. So let's start with the loaf of bread. Why not? I'm just going to open up my one on here. So we have bulk pack quantity. So how many items are in that pack? So when we take items from it, we can either display a little symbol saying, hey, it's empty, or we can have it auto delete, which is what I've done just for simplicity. So bread, how many items? Well, if we want it realistic, the average content of a white loaf of bread is 20. Ingredients in pack. Okay. That should be our DA bread. Okay. Actor class. Well, we don't have our classes made yet, so maybe we should go ahead and make those in a moment. But we'll go back and do that. Price, how much is it going to cost you to buy? I don't know, whatever is relevant. Bulk pack name. Bread is a bulk pack, yes. Can pour, no. Pour time, so we can know. Should be cold stored, no. Item type is an ingredient because it is an ingredient. Static mesh is our bread. Bread, and you get the picture. Okay. I'm not going to sit and do them all in front of you. Like I say, I'm trying to make these a little bit shorter. Icon, I've got an icon. Now the icons, I'm not sure whether they should be in your asset pack. But if not, what I have been doing is I found a very handy plugin, and it's called, I can find it actually, plugins, I think it's called thumbnail to texture tool here. Okay, I've not got it enabled on here, got it on my other project, so I've disabled it. But thumbnail to texture tool, look for it on the internet. I think it's a GitHub download. It works very well, and basically it allows you to take from our assets. So, for example, items, data, food. Oh, no, not from our meshes, I should say. So let's say ingredients, bread. So from here, it allows you to right click, and in here you'll have an extra one saying to texture, and it sends it out to a folder for a texture. Takes a little bit of fiddling around in the project settings to get the transparency correct, but you know, follow their tutorial. Very good little tool. Saved me a lot of time. If you want fancy icons, then obviously you would go into an art program and make your own. But just for quick items, especially for me doing these videos, absolutely ideal. And if you didn't know in Unreal, if you say, yeah, but they're all the wrong angle and this and that, okay, fine. But what in Unreal you can do, especially the later ones, you can click on there and you can say thumbnail edit mode. Then you can literally click on a thumbnail and you can change it. So if you want a different angle for your loaf of bread or your slice of bread or whatever, you can get the angle you want. Think, yeah, I like that. I'm going to use that as my thumbnail. You click on the done editing. You must make sure you save the item. And then your thumbnail creator will take a picture of that. Ideal for icons in Quick and Dirty, which is basically what I've done for these. Okay, so the interaction key on here is E. And I've written in here, pick up a loaf of bread, or LMB to take a slice of bread. Okay, so that will give you an indication of what we're going to be doing in the future. Okay, I'm not going to go ahead and make you watch all of these. I'm just going to go ahead and do them, and then you can catch up once you've done them all. Actually, just looking at the time, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do those off camera, but then I'm going to start another video, which will be part C, I think, and then we will continue with making up the data assets. So while you're waiting, make up all your data assets for your different bulk items. Also, save yourself a bit of time. If you've watched this video, what I'd like you to do as well is we're going to go into our blueprints folder, so our game items folder. We're going to make put it? No, I haven't. So in our workstations, I put it, but you can make a new folder. Storage. And another new folder. Bulk items, if you like. So in the storage, we're going to right click, create a blueprint class of BPP storage, and we're going to call this BP underscore self. That will get prepared for next time. And in your bulk items folder, you go ahead and you make a new blueprint class of all your different ones. So BPP bulk items, So in this case, like BP underscore loaf of bread. Okay. So go ahead and make up one of these. You can right click and duplicate it. So like BP pack of coffee for my case. For all of your different assets you've got in your game, or if you're following along all of the ones that we have. I'm going to call the video here. Thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Think about joining my Patreon or buying me a coffee if you really like what I do. Any problems, send me a message in Discord. I'm always happy to answer, or send it or add a comment below. So in the next one, we'll pick up on these new actors and we'll just quickly go through what we've just done. See you in the next one. Bye.